Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and I work with a lot of individuals with attachment wounds. I work with a lot of avoidant individuals, and while a lot of my patients are men, I have worked with female avoidants as well. I have a couple on my caseload right now. And I noticed something with my female avoidant patients that's a little different from my male avoidant patients. And that is they tend to struggle to come back or reconnect with their partner. And before I jump into the reasons why, I do want to preface that every individual is different, and this is just a perception of what I'm seeing. And there's probably a lot of bias as well. I'm not judging anybody. I don't judge between like how a female reacts or how a male reacts. I don't care about those things. But I do think that there are some aspects as to why some of this happens. And I think it's important to bring up because a lot of this was requested actually. And I think it's helpful. I understand that this can be triggering. And so I just want to preface that. And if anytime any of this makes you uncomfortable, of course, exit out. And I'm never telling you to stay with somebody who doesn't treat you right. So that's also really important to recognize, okay? So the very first one, we're kind of coming in with one, which I'm pretty sure someone's going to crash out in the comments, and that's all good. I get it. I don't know how else to word this, so I'm just going to use a pretty triggering word. And if you guys have a better word, let me know. It's actually entitlement. And I know that's difficult, but hear me out and we can kind of, work through what's going on together. A lot of individuals who are avoidant, first of all, it's very difficult for them to want to come back because they have to be vulnerable, right? But on top of that, with an individual who is a woman, a female avoidant, she does have a sense of entitlement because a lot of times, especially in our society, especially in the United States. I don't know about any other countries. I've never been there. I was born and raised in the United States, so this is all I know. But in the United States, a lot of women, they have a different perception of what relationships are. It's almost like, and it probably is because many years ago in our country, women probably were not treated very well. I wasn't there, but from a historical standpoint, they did not have a lot of rights. And so now there is quite a lot of movement for women to have their rights. But sometimes what happens is because this is happening, a lot of women or their friends or whatever kind of overcompensates for their fear of being mistreated, like maybe their mom or their ancestors or in a previous relationship. They don't want to get mistreated. And so what ends up happening is they almost feel like a sense of entitlement for their partner to be the one to reach out, basically. Or they feel like they shouldn't have to reach out. They may have many other people connecting with them, hitting them up, wanting to date them. And so they feel like, even if I want this other person, why should I? I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to reach out. I shouldn't have to change. I shouldn't have to do X, Y, and Z. Unfortunately, a lot of female avoidants feel this way. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. That actually is one of the main reasons why female avoidants struggle to come back comparison to a male avoidant, just being honest. The next one is it is combined actually commonly with the second one. And that is their fear of admitting that they failed their previous partner. So they want to avoid this. I lost a good person. I lost somebody that I love and I messed up and I wish that I did better. But if they admit that, they have to, touch the wound that they feel. And that's that they feel like they're a failure. They feel like they're not meant for love. They feel like relationships aren't for them. They will bump into that wound if they say, if they sit there and reflect and say, you know what? I probably made a lot of mistakes in my previous relationship. And I wish that he was still here. And I wish that I didn't leave him. And I wish it didn't end like that. But if I go and reach out to him, I'm going to have to admit that. Because he's probably not going to take me back. And I don't want to try. Because then those issues are going to come up again. And I don't know if I have the skills to admit that and express that. And I don't want to. And I'm too afraid to. And that's one of the big barriers. They're afraid of admitting they failed. And of course, I do want to mention to the individuals who are watching this, female avoidance, I am not saying that you guys are bad people and that you're selfish and you're entitled and you're, you know, you don't want to be vulnerable. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just want to be honest also that these are some of the wounds that you guys struggle with. And if this is something that feels like, okay, I admit I probably have done this in the past, try and think about if that's such the case. Maybe go ahead and reach out to your ex that you want to connect with. Not only is that going to help you, you guys may rekindle, it may help your partner. And even if they do reject you, at least you tried, and you could be healing some of those wounds that you've been avoiding healing. And the next time you can learn for your next relationship instead of deny it and avoid it, okay? And so the third one is wanting your partner to reach out. Maybe you, as a female avoidant, you don't want to be the one to reach out. It's scary. You don't want to be rejected, so you want them to reach out. But you have to understand that typically what happens is because of the times that you have been deactivating in the relationship, a lot of times, if you're the female avoidant and also the partner, the female avoidant, what happens is they're deactivating so much in the relationship, their ex-partner doesn't want to reach out because they want to give their partner space. So what ends up happening is the waiting game, the female avoidant, they're afraid to reach out. It just stays that way. They never reconnect because the female avoidant is waiting for their partner to reach out. And part of this, and I'm just being honest, at least in American society, typically the person that reaches out, at least predominantly, we expect it to be the male partner, right? And so a female avoidant is in a tricky box because their partner, let's say their partner is male, their partner wants to respect their space, which is the reason why he's not taking the dominant role. And I'm not saying men have to take the dominant role. I'm just saying this is typically why this happens. And she is waiting, but he's trying to respect her because she was so triggered throughout the relationship. So it's almost like it's just, they're both stuck in limbo, or not even limbo. They're just stuck in that same position and they're unable to connect because of that. So the only way to break out of this one is someone's got to reach out. And honestly, at this point, it doesn't really matter who, because it sounds like both of you guys will want to connect, okay? And the very last one is fear of rejection. Fear that if the female avoidant reaches out, that she will be rejected. And I want to mention something. A lot of females, at least American females, from my perspective, because I've only practiced in America. Like I don't know how other countries are, so forgive me if this is ignorant. But in our country, women do not have as much experience of rejection as men. They just don't. Like just simply, truly, doesn't matter if you're an avoidant, if you're anxious, whatever. Most women do not have much experience, comparison to men, of rejection. They don't, often, commonly. And so what ends up happening is they take rejection, they don't have as much skills, and so rejection is quite scary. And so female avoidance, avoidance in general are very scared of rejection. Add to the fact that they're female, they're terrified of it because they have no experience with it. So in their mind, what if I reach out to my ex and I get rejected? I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to feel that way at all. So that's a lot of the reasons why they don't come back. So entitlement, I know it's a rough word. Maybe it will be a placeholder word. I'll try and figure out a better word. You guys can mention it. Fear of admitting failure, wanting their partner to reach out, and fear of rejection. Hopefully this video makes sense. This was requested. If you guys have any more requests, let me know. Go ahead and subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one.